All right, since since we are in different time zones, I don't want to waste anyone's time. Thank you guys so much for those of you who are joining us. My name is Mukhtar Jallo, as you're seeing on top. I am the former president of the Gambia students in Morocco, and I thought it's important that we have a conversation. That is, those of you who are outside here, either in the Gambia or anywhere in the world, and then people who are applying for the Morocco scholarship that has been it's been advertised as I speak. And if I am right, the deadline for application is on the 25th of this month. It has been extended to the 25th, and I thought it's important that I come over and discuss with you some of the things that you have to know or you must know when you accept this scholarship from MOHERST. This video will be left here. I know some people will not be able to join the live coverage. You guys can share it on your on any of your social media platforms, and then people can share, or people can get to know some of before they apply for the scholarship or after they shortlisted, some of the things that they need to know, and also better prepare them. So you guys can equally post questions anytime in the video, and I will definitely try my best to answer it. So first thing first, Morocco has some of the best universities in Africa. They have highly recognized universities in Africa that can give you one of the best education, if you want to put it that way, and then you will get to have a very nice international experience. And I think also the fact that their universities are recognized, some of their universities are recognized, makes it an ideal place to study. So to say this, another experience you guys can have when you come to Morocco, it's actually the idea that you're going to be able to speak French, because that's another opportunity that the Moroccan scholarship grants you. It's approved by MOHERST, obviously. So once you are here, you get to do your studies in French. There is no Gambian, or there is only one Gambian currently who is doing his or her program in English, but almost 99% of all the programs you get to study here in Morocco are in French. So when you come to Morocco, when you are accepted for this scholarship, you get to come over, learn French at least for 6 months. In the worst cases, you learn it for 4 months. Then you do an exam before you start your actual schooling at the university proper. So first thing first, what you do when you are accepted is you come and learn French. So that is an added advantage you have. You get to study your program in French. With your English skills, you become that person who can be quote unquote 2 international languages that can benefit you a lot in the future. So those are some of the benefits that comes with the Moroccan scholarship, and there's a lot more other stuff that can come with it, if actually depending on who you are, the school you're attending, and also the city in Morocco that you are attending your school. So based on that, your experiences differ, and based on that, you get to have more and more experience. So as per the title of this discussion, it's divided into the things that you have to know before you come to Morocco, and then the things you have to know when you come to when you're accepted. First thing first, people will always want to know, what does the scholarship entail? The Moroccan scholarship is not a full, it's not a 100% sponsored scholarship. That is the misconception people have been having over the years, and the misconception that MOHERST will always tell students is the scholarship is 100% guaranteed, that they take care of your needs 100%. That is not true. I want to make it to you before you come. You have to understand that the scholarship covers mainly it only covers your tuition fees. Mainly that is what it does. But in addition to that, the Moroccan government will be giving you a stipend of 150 euros for the months of every 2 months. They're going to give you 150 euros for the month of September and October, 150 euros. For the month of November and December, you're gonna have 150 euros, like that's for 2 months. And then from January to June, you're going to be receiving 125 euros approximately. That's what you're going to receive. So it reduces from 150 euros, it reduces to 125 euros. That comes to you every 2 months. And on top of that, the Gambia government will be giving you a $900, sorry, stipend if you are in a campus, or they're going to give you a stipend of like $1,200 if you are renting. So this takes you to the next step. When you come to Morocco, the stipend doesn't cover your accommodation, the stipend doesn't cover your transportation to school, the scholarship doesn't cover your accommodation, as in it's not all schools that are having a campus. There are very few schools in the kingdom that actually has campuses that students can go and live and study. But most of the time, students actually will have to be renting, or they apply for a public hostel. If they accepted, fine, they pay a cheaper price only once for the entire academic year, and then they're fine. But otherwise, you have to rent, and when you are renting, you have to pay for your electricity, you have to pay for your water, and then you have to pay for Wi-Fi. And if you are far from school, you will be the one taking care of your accommodation, all of that. There's nothing like accommodation allowance, there's nothing like transportation allowance, there's nothing like stationary allowance. These things are not covered by the scholarship. The scholarship only pays your tuition fee, and then they give you 150 euros or 130 euros depending on what part of the year, so that you can use it to sustain yourself. However, these monies are never sufficient. They are not sufficient in the fact that they cannot satisfy you for 2 months. 2 months is a long duration that 2 months is a long duration that you have to really consider very well when you're trying to, especially when you're renting. So for those of you who are applying right now, when you come in your first year, you're guaranteed accommodation. All right, you're guaranteed accommodation because you're going to study the French language before you proceed. So because you're going to study the French language for 6 months, normally the Moroccan authorities will give you accommodation in the international hostel. And if the places are exhausted, the Ministry of Higher Education has been working with the Gambian Embassy to provide you accommodation. They are going to rent an apartment where you're going to stay. But after your 3 months, after the French language, you'll have to be renting out. This goes back to one thing also. I'm not going chronologically. I want this to be as informal as possible so that you guys can get to understand the entirety of it. So when you come to study your French language, the first 6 months you're in the kingdom, you are all coming to stay in Rabat, all right, except for those who are applying for masters or PhD, because I think, if I can remember, MOHERST is saying you have to have a knowledge in French, because your masters and then your PhD is going to be in French. So for those people, the Moroccan authorities can just put them in any university across the kingdom, and then they can go straight to study there. But for those of you who are coming to do undergraduate scholarship, your first 6 months or the first academic year, you must stay in Rabat. That is the capital city, where you will be, and then that's where you're going to do you're going to learn your French before you start university proper. So whilst you are here, the authorities will take care of your accommodation. But if, for example, the ministry is renting for you outside, your transportation, all of it comes from your own money. That money can be money from the stipend that you are given every 2 months, or you have to find means of getting that money. So to give you a context of what that 150 euros is in 2 months in Morocco, it's small. To be quite frank with you, it's a small amount of money. It's not sufficient. It has never been sufficient, because 150 euros, it's about saying 1,500 dirhams in Moroccan money. And for example, if it is supposed to take you for 2 months, let's say you are renting and then you're sharing your apartment, and at the minimum, let's say you're paying 450 dirhams per month. So it means for the 2 months that you're receiving that stipend, about 900 dirhams already from the 1,500 is allocated to pay for rent. And then you will have the remainder of the money to buy your food, to buy clothes if depending on the time of the year we are in, to pay for your your water and electricity bill, to pay for your telecommunication bill like internet and data, to also buy stationery when you need them. So all of that has to come from the remainder of the money that is actually gonna be about 600 dirhams, and it's supposed to sustain you for 2 months. So that is to say that the money normally that is sent or given out as a stipend or scholarship or stipend per se every 2 months, it's never sufficient. That is the main reason why I am doing this video, to make you understand that if you want to accept, if you go on to accept the Moroccan scholarship, you will have to really, my personal advice will be that try as much as possible to get external financial help to cope in the kingdom, to have a very good stay, and to also sustain yourself. It's key you have an external financial source to support you. The $900 that the government gives you, or the $1,200 that the government gives you, most times it comes late. It normally meets students who have taken a lot of loan and they're using most of that money to pay for their loans, or they're using it to buy capital goods. So because of that, normally that money is not even sufficient because it doesn't last throughout the year, and that money comes annually and it's gonna be only once. So during the time that the money is not available, you will have to either be managing with the 150 you are receiving every 2 months, or you're going to need external support from home, your family members, or anywhere they are, to survive, to be quite frank. All right. So first thing first, before you come to accept the scholarship, you have to understand it's not a full scholarship. No matter what MOHERST tells you, the scholarship is not full. All right. Secondly, your program is going to be in French. Your program is not going to be in English. So you're going to learn French when you come here. Just like people like me who have little knowledge or zero knowledge in French, we get to learn it, and alhamdulillah today we are fine. It's challenging in the beginning because you're doing a university program in a different language, but you get to adapt. A lot of Gambians have passed through the kingdom, and then they're getting super good grades, and then they're doing extremely well right now. In wherever they are in the Gambia or outside the Gambia, they're doing extremely well. So the scholarship or the education you get here is not bad. It's a very good education, just that you have to understand the terms and conditions of the scholarship before you accept it. For example, also, if you're coming from a very disadvantaged family in the Gambia with the hope that you're having a scholarship that will ease the burden on your parents who have zero money to sustain themselves, or who are really struggling to sustain themselves, then you will have to rethink again before you come. That is something I will advise, so that you may psychologically better prepare yourself before you come here. So these are the key major things you need to know before you apply. Again, I repeat, the program is in French, it's not in English, and secondly, the scholarship is not full. Whatever MOHERST tells you, it's not a full scholarship. When you are around, accommodation of the scholarship, it's only guaranteed in your first year. If you're even in the international hostel, you will pay a certain amount of money, which amounts to, I think, 500 dirhams for the entire year. About 500 to 600 dirhams for the entire year, but you pay it like you deposit it in percentages, not everything at once. And then, for example, when that happens, after your 6 months, stay in Rabat, learning the French language, you will have to move out of Rabat most of the time, because a lot of the universities, the international hostel will give you, will be out of Rabat. But then you have very good universities out of Rabat, as I said. For example, the university in Rabat is called Mohammed V University, and this year, according to one of the rankings, it's ranked, in fact, the 5th university in Morocco. Normally it's always number 1. That's the university I'm attending, but this year we are ranked the 5th. So you have university like Kadi Ayak in Marrakech, a super good university. You have University of Ibn Tawfal in Kenitra, very close to Rabat. It's a super good university. You have University of Hassan the First or Hassan the Second. All of these are universities that are very great, and when you come, you get to have all of this. But you have to do all of these courses in French, and it's challenging, but the reward is always fulfilling. As I said, there are many Gambians who have passed through the kingdom, the universities in Morocco, and then they're doing very well. But I just feel that you have to know the scholarship is not full scholarship. You will have to take care of a lot of stuff on your own, depending on your parents back home. And at some point it's going to be really challenging, just like any other education you will do outside home. Another thing probably I will want to mention is when it comes to courses, Morocco has a very wide range of courses you can choose from. For example, science students in the Gambia, when you talk about what to do, they're always thinking about medicine as the only thing. But when you come to Morocco, you get the chance to do you can specialize on general medicine. You get to specialize on pharmacy for 7 years. You get to specialize on dentistry, and other than that, you have other like technical areas in the medical field. For example, lab technicians. It's very rare in the Gambia, and those are areas you can go in for 3 years. You have let's say dietary, people who want to study nutrition. You can do that for 3 years. Then you have people who are studying like nursing and midwifery. So all of those are areas in the medical field that you can venture in, and then you can have a lot of experience. When it comes to commerce students who are always thinking of studying commerce or economics as per what we know in the Gambia or the University of the Gambia, when you come here, you get to have also many other opportunities that you can specialize in certain areas, get your degree, and then you're gonna do very well, because as I said again, many Gambians came through with all of the challenges and then they passed through it. But we feel that if you are mentally or psychologically prepared before you come, most of these challenges will not take you by surprise, and you'll be able to better prepare yourself before you come over. So when it comes to generally living in Morocco, as I said again, it's a very great place to live. Cost of living is not very expensive, depending on the city you live and how you want to live there. These are all things that you can find in the Student Association's website, the www.gasam1.com. You can find a lot of information on those areas using the Gambia Student Association page on Facebook. But I wanted to disassociate myself from the association itself as I do this video to give this clarification. So basically, these are the major things that you guys can share the video and then probably get to affair yourself with the scholarship in detail. If you have questions, you guys can ask questions either in the comment section later on and I will reply to it, or better still, you can send a private message on Messenger, and if I can support or counsel you around it, I will be more than willing to do it. So if there is no question in the next 2 minutes, I can just end the live video, and probably you guys can continue with your businesses, as it is really a sad day for the Gambia. It really is a very sad day for the Gambia, but that's not the purpose of this discussion. So probably I will leave this for 2 minutes. If there are no questions, I can just end this, and you guys can post your comments or questions in the comment section.
Bachelier universitaire, décrochez les prestigieux diplômes de HECI Business School.
Bachelor, Master et MBA en sciences de gestion du
So Moses is asking, how much can you spend on food? It depends also, because normally when you are here, you are encouraged to cook. That's the only way you can survive, by the way, most of the time, except you have financial support. All right. So per month, I think you can spend all the way to, if you're renting and you're cooking for yourself. So let me put it this way: buying vegetables and other things you will need for cooking are very expensive. So if you manage well, you can spend something around 500 to 1000 dirhams, I think. I cannot verify this. You can spend all the way to that amount for the month. But sometimes, you know, you can spend less if, for example, you're living alone and then you're not cooking in great quantities. One thing why I cannot assess that a lot is because also in the Gambia we're used to eating 3 meals a day. Here, I don't know whether it's because how the weather is or because of how we are occupied. We normally eat twice a day, or sometimes some of us once a day, depending on how busy you are. So normally I think you can spend maximum 900 to 1000 dirhams per month, except if you are buying food from the outside, or you know, ordering food from the outside. I hope that answers your question, Moses.
In the murder of former Secretary of State, Honorable Usman Korosisi.
Any other question?
You start a baseball bat, but you answer the God.
Moses, I hope you are satisfied with the answer. Alright, thank you so much, Moses. So if there's no question, I will just end this, and you guys can always post your questions during in the comment section, and then I will definitely answer them. Other than that, thank you guys so much for being here for this short video, and I hope it was helpful. As I said, if you guys need any support or counseling around it, how to go about it, you can either text me privately, or you can visit the Gambia Students Association website or their Facebook page. I think you will get a lot of resources there. So, peace.